Hello there. Oh, nearly forgot to turn on my other light. And welcome back to another daily challenge. If I've not met you before, hi. My name is Storm, and to those of you returning, welcome back to your third stream. Can you believe it? We've only got one more left. What happened to January? You know what? Don't tell me. I don't want to know. It's going really, really quickly. Enough about that though. Shall we say hello to everyone over on YouTube land and Behance land? Hello, Voodoo Val, Oliver. Hi. Oh, yes. Starter files in the chat already. Thank you so much for that. Hi, Piotr. You're testing my English tongue there. Hi, everyone. Let's get together in a serious manner. All right, serious. Sorry. We'll be serious. Hi, Jana. Hi, Bianca. How is everyone's January going? Too quickly, I imagine. If you are new here, this is our third stream in the daily challenges where I will be taking you through some Illustrator based challenges. Our first challenge 2 weeks ago was about setting up your workspace for a speedy workflow. The second one was all about shapes and patterns. And the third one, as the title suggests, is about alignment and grids and precision and all of that sort of wonderful stuff. Ah, Peter, thank you. Please correct me if I pronounce your name wrong. Names are very important. So in all seriousness, I want to make sure I get them correctly. Well, say them correctly. So thank you. Serious Storm. Serious. Hi, Franco. Hello. So yes, please do, if I haven't said it already, grab your starter file. Voodoo Val has dropped it in the chat already. And I think we should get started. So, as I mentioned, the first thing we are going to do is look at alignment. Now, there are a couple of ways that you can align things in Adobe Illustrator. Why don't we go through a few of them? So in your starter file, you'll notice there's a couple of artboards. I've set up some workshop spaces for you in my Blue Peter moment. So in Illustrator, we have something called this align window. Now, if you remember in our workspace, if you can't find something, go over to window and drag down and you can see align there. That's what I'm looking at. So there are several ways that you can align objects. You can align objects to the artboard, to a selection, or to a key object. And I will elaborate a little bit more on those as we go. Now, this is all going to sound fairly basic to begin with, but you remember we're building foundations because at the very end of the stream, I've got a fun little project that ties it all together. So if you don't know, however, let's say, for example, I want to move all of these circles in one line. I've gotten this file from some so-and-so in my work office and they're a mess and I just need a really quick way to align them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag, and then you can see up here under align objects, you've got a couple of options. Horizontal align left, center, and right, same with the vertical. Now, maybe I just want them all in one line and I want to align it to the artboard. So you click artboard, click vertical align, and now they're in the center. Same thing if I do it vertically. Now they're all in the center. It's a good start. Not quite right. It doesn't make too much sense, but let's say we need to do a little bit more here. Maybe I want to distribute them evenly amongst each other. So here's how we'd go about doing that. For the furthest right object, we'd align to the right. Second one, align to the left. Now to the selection, I'm going to align them all. And now to the artboard, we're going to distribute them evenly. And like that. So just a couple of clicks, you'll get a chance to have a play around with this. I'm going over this quickly because this is your workboard. It's a daily challenge, remember, so you're going to have to challenge yourself with this. So you have a couple of options with squares and circles to do that sort of thing as well. Makes sense. I think so, right? Let's move on to another example of aligning. English is difficult today. Don't at me. So on this example, what I want you to do is to align the text to the box. Now, if you remember in our very first stream, we talked about smart guides and we turned them on. The reason why we turned them on is so when I'm moving things around, you can see this purple line comes up, which makes it easy for me to click and drag and snap things to the object. So if I wanted, I'm sure you probably recognize this body of text, the lazy dog jumps over, no. How is this supposed to go? The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. I can't even remember. So you would click and you can drag, and that works easy for aligning. Or now here's where the aligning to key objects comes in. This one I thought was pretty interesting. So say I want the quick brown text to align to the top of the square's line. So instead of aligning to the artboard, now I align to the key object. And once I've clicked that, you can see that the box is now outlined in red. If I click the text, then it's outlined in red. That shows us which is now the key object. So from there, the quick brown lazy dog over the fox jumps. Shh, serious. So now with the key object selected, I can now align this to the top and then to the center. All quick like. Same with here. If I wanted to maybe rotate this, what is this? -90. I can select the text, select the key item, choose align to key item, and then same again. I want to align it to the right and then to the center of the shape. So that's one other way that you can use that, which is really, really useful. Again, all precision things, because Illustrator in and of itself is a really great program when it comes to using vectors and precision things, which we're going to get a little bit more into later. But this is just a useful way to kind of snap things into place rather than having to click and drag if you've got a mouse that double clicks like I do. And then, now this is a feature that I thought was really exciting. It's relatively new, so if you don't know about it, then don't worry, that's what I'm here for. So this one is objects on a path. Now, do you remember a function that was text on a path? It works kind of like that. So in this example, we have a planet and we have some stars, and I want the stars to go around the planet. So instead of clicking and dragging, which you could probably do, it might take you some time, what I'm going to use is this new feature. So along the toolbar on the left, on this particular button, you can see it says objects on the path. So how this works is I'm going to select, I'm going to select all of my stars, and then I'm going to click objects on the path. So now the objects are highlighted and I just have to select what path I want them on. And as soon as you do that, they are now snapped to the path, which is really cool. So similarly to how we did our patterns in our last stream, you come up with a couple of extra options that you can now do once you're in this mode. So on the top path, you've got path if you want to maybe not have the objects go all around the entirety of the shape. If you want like a half star, half moon sort of thing going on, you can rotate them. You can change the order. So if you were to just select one of the shapes, say I want all of the light stars on one side and all of the darker stars on another side, you can do that. And if you select and you decide maybe you've got too many, you can detach, and then the paths, objects on the path tool will just redistribute the shapes around, which again I think is quite clever. You can also, of course, edit the path, and when you do that, the shapes follow a path with it because they are now snapped to it. Make sense? I think that makes sense. It's pretty cool, right, Oliver? I like this. I like this function. Work smarter, not harder. On that note, actually, let's move on to our next subject. We've done with the alignment. Now we're on to the grids. So there are a couple of ways that you can use grids and rulers. Again, with vector art and things like that, you can be quite precise, and I have no doubt you've got very good eyeballs and eyesight. I wear glasses, so mine's dubious at best. But Illustrator has some options to help you out. If you hit Control R, it comes up with rulers. And from here, you can click and drag down from the left or the right to add a guide. Easy, that's one way of doing it. I'm just going to quickly get rid of that. Going to, there we go. I'm going to go to View, Guides, and Clear Guides. Of course, as always, Illustrator has some options for us. We can show grid. So there's a built-in grid that you can always use. And if, like the Smart Guides function over here, if you click Snap to Grid, you can now literally draw along the grid and everything you draw will snap to the grid. Precision. I think you're noticing a theme here. So even if you're dragging it along, it will still just snap to the grid. So accuracy, this is what we're going for. That works pretty well, but let's say, for example, I don't want something like this. I want something a little bit more custom. Well, you can do that. So if I hide this grid now and I turn off Snap to Grid, I'm going to start building something and you're probably going to work out what it is I'm going for, because that's going to lead into our last project. So using some tools we learnt in the last streams, we're going to use the line tool, and our artboard I think is 1000 by 1000. So I'm going to make this what, like 1800 in length. Let's zoom out a little bit. Hello Virgo, how are you? Happy, what day is it today? Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. I'm going to select that and then I'm going to copy and drag it over all the way over here. Just, yeah, over there should be fine. Now with both of those selected, I am going to go to Object. Same like in the patterns, if you remember, we're going to go to Blend, Make, and then I'm going to go into our blend options under the Properties tab, change it from smooth color to specified steps, and feel like 99. Right, let's have a look at that. 99, how does that look? 99 looks good. Stop me when you think you know what I'm trying to do here. I'll be curious to see who gets to it first. Illustrator is awesome. I love Illustrator. Build, 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 working, working, working. I hear that. That feels like the anthem for January for absolutely everyone. All good here. Looking forward to the stream. Ah, thank you. Well, I hope I can impart some knowledge onto you. So, what was I doing? Oh, yes. We selected our blend. We're going to go to Object Expand. So it's no longer a blend shape. It's now like a grouped shape. From there, I'm going to go into Object Transform. And we're going to rotate it by 60 degrees. Oh no, I meant to hit copy. So we'll do that again. Transform, rotate 60 degrees, and then we hit copy this time. Okay. Then we go back to the original shape. And then we do the same thing again, but in the other direction. Transform, rotate, and then minus 60. Can you see what I'm trying to do yet? Kinda. Well, this works on its own pretty well as a type of grid. Of course, you can just lock it and go about your business. Or, here comes the extra customization. Now I can select it, go to View, Guides, Make Guides. So now instead of this being beholden to whatever stroke or fill that we have, it is now set as a guide on its own layer. It doesn't have to interfere with anything that we're doing, and now you've created your own unique guide with whatever shape or background that you need, which is awesome. So I'm going to lock that. Oh, hello Robert, how are you? And that, as you probably imagine, has brought us to putting it all together. So now we are going to make something isometric, which is probably the ultimate challenge in precision creation in Illustrator. You need to be pretty accurate. It's all numbers and lines and all of that good stuff. And if we can master grids and rulers and things like that, we're going to have a much easier time. So let me show you. Now that we have our grid set up, I'm just going to use our pen tool. Gonna draw a square. And because we have our smart guides on, the pen tool will literally just snap two things, so I don't have to worry about where it's going to make sure everything's aligned. You see the intersect? Oh, well, I went to the wrong thing. Let's try that again. And then we've got one shape. Hi, Penny, how are you? Now from there, same like we did with the original grid lines, we go to Object, Transform, Reflect. We're going to copy this along the vertical axis, and because we've got our smart guides and our grids all set up, I can literally just, oh, if I select the right one, drag and it will snap in place. Really cool. It gets better. So we're going to make the next shape. Oh yeah. Make the next shape, go on the top. And now we've got our cube set up. Now this doesn't just work for cubes actually, well, squares, although that is the easiest shape to work with. We're going to add a few extra things in here. Add a couple of circles now. So let's do 100 by 100. Nah, actually let's go by 90 by 90. I'm freezing, but other than that, no, you keep the cold over there, please. I cannot be handling the cold weather, not at all. So there's a couple of options where you can do this. I'm going to do this with the tabs open, but of course you can go to Object, Transform, and then Shear, and then Rotate. But I'm going to go, the Shear tool, the Shear shortcut even is over here. So I'm going to hit 30, and then I'm going to rotate by 30. And it's now, look at that, it's on the line. I love it. Let's actually make that a little bit smaller. Now here's where the align to key object comes in. If you remember, we had a look at that briefly. I want this to be exactly in the center of this square, so I can select both of these now. Align to key object. I don't want the circle to be the key object, I want the square to be the key object. And now I can say, put that in the center. And now it is in the center. Precision. I think you're noticing a theme here. These lines help in drawing the geometry. Absolutely, it's a fantastic resource. I love isometric stuff. I could do that all day, but we don't have all day. We have like 6 minutes left. So let's continue. We're going to add another circle here. We're going to go to move. Here's something that's pretty cool. If you want to move something accurately along that, along your lines, if you change the position, all the points on the move tool to 0, 0, 0 across the board, and then we go to -30, if I now move the distance up and down, it's literally just going to travel along those grid lines. I'm just going to hit copy. So now we've got a second circle here. Now, do you remember we looked at the shape builder tool in the last stream? I'm just going to hide this so you can see a little bit better. I'm going to select these two circles, select the shape builder tool so I can clean this up a little bit. I don't need that. And then we've got a nice clean shape. You see, it's all coming back together. They sound simple, but they come together and they do a lot of really interesting things. So now what I'm going to do with everything selected, I am going to make a copy of this actually. So I'm going to go to Object, Transform, Reflect, make a copy, and with our grid selected and this new shape selected, I'm going to transform and I'm going to move it. Same again, zeros across the board, and actually go 90 because I want it to just move up. Till about here, looks good. And then I'm going to do that again, which I could have done with the mouse as well, because we've got snap to grid and no smart guides on, so it will just snap it in place. But this time, new, we're going to go along the 30 degree angle and shove it forward a little bit. Then just comes the cleanup with our shape builder tool. Let's get rid of you, get rid of you. Ooh, not you. Let's combine you, actually. Combine you, and you, and you. I think that's all of them. Fantastic. And now, very easily, with a custom grid that we've built, we've got a nice, easy geometric shape. Also works, interestingly enough, with the artworks. You remember our library that we built previously? Now, let's actually do the same thing. If you remember, for the right-hand side, we need 30 and 30. So 30 degrees on the shear, 30 degrees on the rotate, and now it's also on that side. For the left-hand side, it's minus 30, minus 30. So right is 30, 30, left side is minus 30, minus 30. There's a lot of math and numbers involved. You don't have to worry about that. Just remember those numbers. Again, coming back to another project with the library selected, we're going to now turn this into our outline layer, and let's just fill this in. So I'm going to create a new layer at the bottom. Now with that red square, I'm going to hold Alt, click and drag down to copy the artwork. And with all of this selected, I'm going to select K, or it's also the live paint bucket tool. And isn't it just as well that we cleared up our libraries previously, because now we have some colors to work with, right? So now I'm just going to go color this in. Just like the fun part of all these projects, isn't it? So therapeutic. Now I'm just going to get rid of the guide. Because we have actually a couple of colors that we can work from, because we used our themes and things like that, we've got some interesting colors to work with here. So some darks over here, some light ones over here, and I'm literally just clicking on the color palettes that we have saved previously. And then we've got these circles here. Past that point, it's so cool. Really, really quick. After that, we do the same thing. We go to Object, Expand, so we can separate the line work from the fill, and we're left with just the fill there. And there's your easy isometric shape with the grid that you built yourself. So while we've got about a minute and a half left, why don't we have a quick recap? Just to go over, make sure we understand everything we went through. Oh, Axel, thank you so much. All right, quick recap. So we're looking at alignment and precision. So there are a couple of ways of doing that. We have the align window over here, in which you can align things to the artboard, to a selection, or to a key object. Selecting whatever it is you want to align, all you have to do is go over to the align objects and choose where you want to align it to. Simple as. Past that point, if you wanted to align something into a key object, make sure that key object is the thing with the thickest outline, and that'll do that for you. After that, we looked at a new feature, which was objects on a path. Select the objects that you want, select objects on the path, and then select the path that you want to attach the objects onto, and then Illustrator will handle the rest. And finally, we had a look at setting up rulers and grids. There are built-in ones in Illustrator that you can find under View or Control R, and then you can create your own with a whole set of guidelines, and then you select View, Guides, and then Guides, and then Make Guides. From that, I think you'll have some fun with some interesting projects. Thanks so much for hanging around. Make sure you stick around till a little bit later. Dara is coming up with another Photoshop challenge, and I will be with you next week for your very last Illustrator challenge. Have fun, and I'll see you next week. Bye!